Bonjour! It's your girl Coco Lambico, and today we will be discussing Ebola in America. So, if you would like to hear my take on Ebola and its effects in America and throughout the world, just keep watching. So, Ebola in America. If you don't know what Ebola is, that's a serious problem. I don't know what part of the world you're living in, but you may want to wake up and come out from this rock that you're living under because it's a serious disease that's taking over the world slowly but surely. Basically, it's a disease that once you get it, you basically bleed to death. Whether you bleed internally, externally, out of your eyes, whatever, you're bleeding to the death of you. Literally. Right. So recently there was a guy that flew into Texas, and this morning or yesterday morning he died of Ebola at about 7:25 a.m. or something like that. There has been a lot of talk about the situation, and everyone has been asking me, like, what do I think about it and stuff like that. So I figured I'd just go ahead and do a few comments on it and go ahead and make this like my introduction video. The first thing I heard was he lied about his arrival to the States or where he was coming from. I don't see how that affects him, because when he first came, he wasn't even showing signs of having the disease. So why does him lying have to do with anything? Like, I understand, like, okay, the doctors ask you where you come from. Maybe they would have run further tests, but they didn't even ask him anything like that. So him lying, to me, that's just a BS excuse. Next. The next thing I heard was he waited too long to report his symptoms. Point of correction. The majority of everything that I read says that the first time he went in, he was perfectly fine and he showed no symptoms of having Ebola the first week he went in. However, the second time, they finally said that he was showing some symptoms of Ebola, and then they finally diagnosed him with Ebola. Problem number one. There were 3 American citizens that have came to the U.S. and to get treated, and they got cured. However, when they came, they already had Ebola. Do you hear me? They already had Ebola. They had already had it. Bumped the symptoms, they had the disease. So they came here and they were given the test drug, ZMapp, and ZMapp worked on them. Okay, they came here, they got treated. He comes here, he's perfectly fine the first week, but the second week, he shows symptoms. And from these symptoms, they diagnose him, and suddenly he dies. Does that not, do anything to you guys? He had symptoms and died. They had Ebola and survived. But I digress. Then the last theory that I heard was he just didn't have money. I can possibly agree with this one, because America is all about their money. And, if you can't pay, they can't help. So it's like a equal exchange type of thing going on. But my thing is, if it's truly a test drug, then why should the price even matter? Why should money even be a factor? Because y'all should be able to test him, and I know this is going to sound bad and I'm going to get a lot of backlash about this, but y'all should be able to test him like you guys supposedly test our animals, or let me say monkeys, back home and see if it'll work. But y'all didn't even give him a chance because, of course, he's black in America. No, I'm not going to say African, because obviously in America, our true ethnicity doesn't really matter. You're either black, white, Spanish, or other. I mean, I'm not even going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm African. Like, yeah, I get offended when people call me African American, but at the end of the day, it kind of sort of doesn't matter, because even if I say African, I don't get viewed as African. I get viewed as African American. Well, my thing is, at the end of the day, he wasn't the only person of color to die from this disease. Even the man who did have money, that Nigerian doctor in Nigeria who was actually treating Patrick Sawyer, both of them died. But the Nigerian doctor died supposedly after being given the ZMapp drug. So what does that tell you? It kind of just makes us think like, okay, does ZMAP only work on white people? Because this Nigerian doctor got it, but it didn't work on him, or what? Is our melanin? Do we have way too much melanin for the drug to work on us? Like, I feel like sometimes we forget certain things that just make you think. I'm not saying that America is totally bad or totally corrupt and our system is unfair. It is unfair, but just think about some of these things for you guys that are just like, no, 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 it's all about the money. He didn't have the money, so he couldn't get cured. Y'all need to think about some of these other factors that play into it. Another thing is, I feel like we only care about this right now because it's here in the States. Patrick Sawyer died. He was white, but he was in Africa. Doesn't really matter. It hit close to home now, but when it hadn't hit home yet, everybody was just like, oh my gosh, Ebola is killing West Africans. Oh well, life goes on. But see, now that it's here, everybody's like, holy crap, Ebola is here and Ebola is real. I mean, had the African guy been white, do you think the story would have changed? Or would money and donations and all of this stuff, charity work and all of that, would it have miraculously popped up and like helped heal him? Or what? I mean, I just really need you guys to like think about that. Think long and deep about it, and let's talk about it.